Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Access, a social media program produced and presented by the UWA Global. I'm your host, Cherise Glasgow, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the Caribbean and in the world on the World Wide Web. Today, we'll be speaking to two of our most recent Global Campus graduates, and they will represent two of our Global Campus countries. We'll hear about their journeys from the first time they saw the ad or they became interested in studying with us right up to their graduation and also learn what they're doing now. So I'm pleased to introduce two very special guests. There are Natasha Williamson from the Bahamas and Siobhan Kelly from Anguilla. Ladies, welcome to Let's Talk Access. It's a pleasure to have you on with us this evening. So you can introduce yourselves, tell us what you studied, and if you want to give any special details about yourself.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. Good evening, everyone. My name is Siobhan Kelly. I'm from the friendly island of St. Martin. I was attached to the Anguilla campus, but I'm born and raised in St. Martin. At the UE, I studied human resource management, master's in management with a focus in human resource management.
Hello, my name is Natasha Williamson, and I am from the beautiful islands of the Bahamas, specifically the capital, New Providence. I did my bachelor's degree at the University of the Bahamas, or College of the Bahamas, now University of the Bahamas, and I did management studies. And then I did my degree, my master's at UWI, and I studied management studies. And so a little about me, I've been married 36 years, and I have 3 adult children and 4 grandchildren. And trust me, they kept me on my toes as I did my degree. Oh my goodness. At times it was hard, but I made it, thank God.
Glory to God.
Indeed. So, ladies, tell us why you chose the global campus to pursue your studies. There are many universities out there. There are online universities as well as face-to-face universities. Why us?
Well, for me, I always had a desire to further my studies, my master's. I got my bachelor's degree with another university, but of course, I'm a person that loves growing and developing, and I had a desire to obtain my master's degree. Unfortunately, the finances were not there for me to be able to go abroad as I did for my bachelor's, so I decided to pursue an online program. I researched different schools and they were quite expensive out of my budget, I should say then. And I had someone I know that actually went to the UE, and then I inquired like, "How was your experience at UE?" and all of the details she gave me, and I was convinced to apply. So I applied, and I went ahead with the UE because it's more affordable for me, and also I love the Caribbean-based education system. So it was a different experience for me as my bachelor's degree was with an American university. So too, I wanted to, experience a Caribbean-based university life online. So that was the reasoning behind for me applying to the UB Global Campus.
Great.
Well, similarly, I always wanted to, of course, complete my master's degree. 2 things made up my mind for me. One, the fact that I could do the courses online, and of course, the price point. I love the online part of it because as someone with a family, I was not able to just pick up and go somewhere else to do a master's degree. And so I liked. I had a couple of friends who went through the UWI program. All of them have done well. They are doing well. They talk very highly about the program. And so I decided to use UE as my school for graduate studies. And of course, it was affordable for me. It was affordable for me as well.
I'm definitely hearing affordability, flexibility, that Caribbean element, and that convenience that we do offer here at the UWA Global Campus. So, ladies, tell me, what career paths are you both in? And no, before I ask you that question, just answer, what career paths are you both in?
I'm actually in HR. So for the past, you can say 5 years, 5.5 years, I've been in HR field. However, that is not what I got my undergraduate in. However, I ended up in this career path, and because of that lack of foundational education in HR, I was like, you know what, this is why I should apply to focus in HR, which would support me in my career path that I'm currently in.
All right, so currently I am employed in our institutional strengthening and accreditation office. And I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, that my graduate program has prepared me for the career path that I'm on now. It has certainly taught me to be a critical thinker and to be someone who is able to understand or the scope of things is bigger than me. And so I certainly appreciate everything that I learned at the Open Campus, and I believe that it has prepared me for where I am now.
So we'll delve a bit deeper later into what you studied and how it is helping you in terms of theoretically as well as practically in your careers. But first, before we proceed, tell me, what does access means to you?
To me, access means attainable, reachable. There's no boundaries that you cannot, go through in order to attain whatever goals that you have to achieve and set in mind to achieve.
Certainly, and accessible means access, of course, means being able to complete what you have to complete or completing those courses in a timely manner and successfully. I was a student during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I was able to continue classes. I didn't have to stop. I thought that was phenomenal. I always tell people that I have been in classes with people from all around the Caribbean. I have never met them, and I will probably never meet them. And they will probably pass me by one day and I will not know who they are. But we all work together to obtain an A or an A in most classes. And I'm grateful. It taught me how to network and how to work with people. And so certainly the access that you provides is phenomenal. I think that just bringing people together from all these different time zones, I think that is phenomenal. And everybody just falls in line, it's on one accord in order to get the work done.
Indeed, I agree.
Definitely. And, here we do offer access, agility, and alignment as part of our AAA strategy. So we are glad that we were able to provide that service, that access to you. Those of you who are watching on our social media platforms, you too can have this measure of access like Natasha and Siobhan, because currently our application period is still open. We are still accepting applications, and it's good that you are here to hear about their stories so you can make that final decision. So let me just remind you, applications for semester 1 starting in September 2024 is currently open. You have until Wednesday, July the 31st for undergraduate programs. And those of you who want to attain your master's or postgraduate, that is until Friday, July 12th. So you can access this application platform by logging on to our webpage, global.uwa.edu/apply. That is global.uwa.edu/apply. And who knows, maybe next year you will be here. Well, not next year because it will take a while to do the program, but the next couple of years, or you'll be here speaking about your experience. So I want you ladies to let us know what was the overall experience for you at the global campus. How was it? How was your experience from that first day until the last? Tell us about that journey.
That's a good question. For me, I would say that it was different for me. It was very different. It was eye-opening because this was my first online experience. That's for one. So doing that transition from my bachelor's to being in person in the classroom, seeing the professor, seeing your classmates, and then now going to the online education system, that was a change for me. In addition to that, I would say having to work full time and also pursue a degree. Because when I did my bachelor's degree, it was just my main focus was school. I was a full time student. So balancing work, your life, and then still finding the strength and the energy to do assignments, attend online classes, the discussion forums. That was a transition for me as well to adjust to. But one thing I did like that Miss Natasha mentioned in terms of meeting working alongside other students from the Caribbean, because I work with people from Belize. Like I've never met anyone from Belize, and having to work with them. If there was even a student in one of my classes and he was in China, that one I was so amazing because China and you're working, you're going to school and
Global campus.
Yeah, indeed, it is a global campus. So all of those factors made it different for me. But at the end of it all, I would say that it was an enjoyable experience. However, I would recommend to others, make sure you mentally prepare for that transition if you have never did online schooling, because yeah, to find that balance and also the increased screen time, because I you at work, well, for me at least, I work primarily on a screen and then to come back home and then be on a screen again. So that increased screen time was also a difference for me as well. But nonetheless, it was still I would still say that I would recommend someone to attend the UB Global Campus for sure.
So overall, I was impressed with the administration of the UWI and Global Campus. And that started from my application process. So I had applied and I hadn't heard from them. And I heard there were people, like classes were about to start and I hadn't gotten my acceptance letters yet. And so I was like, what's taking so long? And so when I went to the office here in the Bahamas, the lady said, well, you haven't heard from them because you've not been accepted. And I was like, really? On what grounds? And she said, when she checked, she said, oh, your GPA is too low. I said, my GPA is too low? Because I know I had a good GPA. And so I asked her to look it up some more, and she did. And turns out that the wrong transcript had been sent for me. Oh, and so I got someone to send the correct transcript, and she got on the phone with the admissions office at UWI, their main office or whatever. They reviewed it, and within a few moments, I had my acceptance letter. And I thought that was amazing, and that was the beginning of my journey with UWI. As far as classes, I know Siobhan talked about adjusting for the online classes. In my first semester, I do not think that I had thought about it enough. In my first semester, they made me do this course called Research Processes, GRST 6900. And oh my goodness, I was not ready for that class. And I want you to know that at one point I got discouraged. I came home. I told my family I'm not going back to school. This ain't making no sense. I'm too old for this. I don't have to put myself through this. And it took the counsel of a very good friend who called me and said, "Excuse me, you are a brilliant woman." And she had to talk. We say in the Bible, she had to talk sense into my head. I stayed away from classes for about 2 weeks. Honestly, I did not look back because I told her I'm not going back. And I thought it was so amazing is when I did decide to come back, all of my classmates, all of the persons that were that we were working on projects with and whatnot, they said, "Welcome back, Natasha. You just needed to adjust and you will be fine." And certainly that's exactly what happened.
Natasha, you had a bumpy start.
I did.
Yes, you did. Yes. But I'm glad that you persevered, because even that proactiveness of going to check on why your acceptance was taking so long to come, you could have missed that deadline. So I am so happy that you were able to take that step, and also to remain faithful and to continue to push on even when you wanted to give up. But just to tap on something you said, you would have joked about your age and being a mature student. What made you decide to actually pursue your master's, knowing that you would have, in terms of your family life, your career, and as you said that you were older than you would have than what made you decide to go ahead and pursue?
I had several prompts or factors that contributed to this. One was that I always wanted to do my master's degree. And I know that I always had the capacity to do it. It's just that life happened. I got married, I had children, bringing my children up, making sure that they did well in school. And then it was time for them to go to university. They did. And life just happened. And then, in the work world, you see all of these people who are being promoted on the job. And here it is. Sometimes the decisions that they made make you scratch your head, or the work sometimes that they produce. And you'd be like, hold on, why did they get the promotion and not me? And so it certainly drove me to go back to school. And like I said, I know that I have the capacity to do it. I don't have a problem with school. It's just that life happened. And so I'm so grateful to have gone back. And one thing that I hopped into the lives of my children, I told them to make sure that they finish their tertiary education before they start a family. And so far, they've listened to me.
You definitely led by example, even though you would have been delayed, but that was still good for them to see that that you actually kept to your word, that you wanted to pursue your master's, and the same example you were pushing to them, you were able to follow in your own advice. So that's great. So tell me, what would you say, for both of you, what would you say was the best part of your journey at the global campus? Any memory, any event, probably classmates, a tutor, anything that you would say is was the best part of your journey?
But for me, other than meeting the other students from the different islands, I would also mention the group work. Although
the best part, really?
You're the best part. So the reason why I say group work is because usually, at least the groups I've been in, at the end of one, we have, for example, online meetings to discuss what's the task at hand. At the end of every meeting, I'm always the one that would say, "Hey guys, question. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? How is you guys managing with the schoolwork?" Like, that was my moment to know that, okay, other people feeling the same way I'm feeling. I can connect with them. It's just not me alone. Because as I said, you working or you doing the schooling remotely, well, virtually, you don't physically see other students. So in that moment when we have our group discussions on whether it's Zoom or whatnot, and you see the other students in your group, and then at the end, once you discuss and you handle all the group work related matters, I usually ask like, "How are you guys doing?" Like, okay, I'm feeling the same way. Oh my God, I thought it was just me. It's not just only me. So having that connection with other students, like, okay, it always refreshes me. Like, okay, Siobhan, you're not alone. There's other people feeling the same way.
Yes, going
Just
through.
help each other out. So I dive right in. That's the one reason I enjoy the group work. Just that aspect, I would say.
Okay.
Well, I think for me, greatest moment was getting my first transcript and seeing that I had actually passed that course. That actually made me cry, made me
Oh my God.
throw down my books. um, that, and of course, I think it was all in my first semester. Just hearing those ladies say to me, "Welcome back, Natasha. I'm glad that you came back, and it's going to be okay, and you're going to pass your courses." It also prepared me for the other classes that I would do, and to be a source of encouragement to others who were feeling similarly to me, who were ready to just give up.
And it's so funny that Natasha mentioned the course GRSD, that research process course. Because girl, that course made me cry too. That's the first assignment we had. I failed. And I was like, okay, no, I am not ready for my master's. I cried, I literally cried. And I was like, no. I'm like, okay, what did I get myself into? I don't think I'm ready. Like I had all those emotions, so I can really relate to what you're saying about our course. But in the end, I said, you know what, no, Siobhan, email the CC or the graduate facilitator and ask her what areas you went wrong. So that was my tool in order to help me to know, okay, this is how I could have improved, and that it helped me in other courses to know, okay, if something is not clear what's expected of me, ask the question. Make sure I'm clear to know what exactly I have to produce in this assignment. And that first course taught me that because that was heartbreaking.
So I know both of you would have mentioned the online aspect, and I know Siobhan, you would have said you were coming straight from your bachelor's, which was face to face. And how did you both found the technology, or what mechanisms did you use to cope with the technology and the online aspects of studying? Because I know sometimes it can get very lonely, even though you're interacting with persons on the computer or from all over the world. There's not really anyone per se face to face on a daily basis. How did you cope with that? Let us know.
How did I cope with that? It took some time to transition, I would say. It, that's a good question. Natasha, if you would want to go ahead and then let me think of an answer.
Well, I'll tell you, when we first started, it was always hit and miss with me. I would say, good Lord, where did I know that I saw that, and then I couldn't remember where I found certain things, but just kept playing around with it. And then I finally learned how to manipulate or maneuver in the software that they use. Sometimes even the time zone difference. I would either arrive to class late or I was too early until I learned that Jamaica had a different time.
Yes.
You're behind. Yes.
Yes.
So certainly the first semester is a learning curve, but we made it.
You did indeed.
And
Siobhan,
even some of the graduate facilitators, they give tips, like example, in terms of the discussion forums or any news and announcements. They would give you tips, okay, how to have the on read, so you know, okay, when alerts are given. So that helped me keep track of what I missed or what I need to do. So that helps a lot, as well as just my own planner, my physical planner helped me. Okay, remember to go. So it was like a daily routine for me to just check online. So then you build that rhythm to know, okay, these are the tasks I need to do on a daily basis. So that also helped me to keep in line with managing the technology with the online learning.
Well, I mean, just to add on to what she said as well with the discussion forum, I think the first one of those that I did, I thought that I could just give a little hanky-panky answer. And let me tell you, people were all over me. They were like, what? And I learned never to do it again.
Yeah.
I learned to do my research to find articles that would relate so that I can give a sensible answer. Um, and everything is just a learning experience. You can't take offense. I've had people who've taken my post. I've seen it one way and they saw it another way. And by the time they were finished, I was like, okay, I never saw it like that. But it was good. And that's why I say that UE has taught us to be a critical thinker, because everybody comes at you from a different angle, and they make you think. They make you respond to what it is, the thoughts that they've put on paper, because sometimes you just can't write the discussion post and not respond to it.
Yeah.
And so, it starts a discussion.
And indeed, another feedback too I used to receive, because after I seen, okay, and I learning how to further develop my discussion forum posts and responses, I've had a few friends mention like, Siobhan, your things are always so long. You have a million references. I'm like, I'm just trying to do the UE way.
Yes,
They want us
exactly.
to think, they want us, so I'm gonna put my all. So I know that was always a joke, that I had feedback received, but it was still a learning. I definitely, I agree with Natasha. It definitely helps you to think critically. I definitely believe that as well.
Especially at the master's level, which you have to give that bit more to get your discussions to be of that standard. So those who are watching, those who are in the chat, just remember to give Natasha and Siobhan some love in the chat by comments. You can ask them questions. They will be related to them if you want. So please give these ladies some love for this momentous achievement that they have gained. So I want to ask, I know both of you would have mentioned earlier about the program you studied and your career choices and path. Give us some insight into the practical element of how your studies were able to help you in the workplace, and in a sense improve what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. The different things that I would learn, especially HR related, I would definitely say, okay, where's my current organization lacking in? To know, okay, fill in those gaps or make suggestions, and even the quality of my work improve because of my master's degree, because of being enrolled in UE. Because I would even receive feedback from my superiors, like, you know what, Siobhan, I'm really seeing the quality of your work improving, the way you're thinking is on paper, you envision it. So that's how I try to slowly but surely apply what I learned, assess what's in my organization and see what I'm learning. Okay, oh wow, I didn't notice. Maybe I could suggest it. So that's how I was able to, while I'm learning, still apply to my current organization.
I believe that UE has prepared me to, like I said, think critically, be able to respond on the spot, be able to take part in conversations, and not be afraid. It has helped me with making presentations, whether it's on paper or before an audience. And certainly I can appreciate it. And lastly, I want to say that going to school, and maybe this is for someone at my age, it kept me up to date with technology. And so certainly we had to use the technology that was available to us, the Skype, the Zoom, everything that was available to us. And so we had to keep up to date. We had to use all these different programs that's available in Microsoft in order to get our work out. And so certainly I am one who is not afraid to learn a new technology. Some people are afraid. They'll say, no, I'm not learning anything else. If you want to teach me, I'm willing to learn. Let's go.
Especially now in the workplace where technology is such a big deal and it's consistently changing. The technology is consistently changing and it's such a big deal. So it's good that you were able to get those practical elements. You're getting support in the chat. I think that is a Saint. I'm not sure if it's a Saint Martin flag. Yes, I
Probably.
believe it is. Yes, yes. Red, blue, and white, like a
Yes.
triangle kind of. Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's the Martin
And
flag.
someone is saying they're starting their BSc in accounting this year. So we are glad that we can give you some insight. Someone is also saying great insight and discussion. And we also have someone from St. Vincent as well. So you are definitely encouraging persons and letting them have that insight into the journey that's ahead is definitely helpful for them. So I want to know that either of you take part or participate with the financial planning in terms of the payment plan option that was there to assist our student. Let us know about that.
Yes, I did. Well, after some time, for the most part, I did participate in the monthly plans, which was helpful because, even though the school is a bit more affordable than other schools, we live in the Caribbean, and the finances may not be all the way there all the time. So I did definitely make use of the monthly plan. So, and then when you make the monthly plan, it helps you to spread out that cost instead of paying one time. So it works out for me in my favor.
I, from day one, used financial, and I'm so grateful for it because during the pandemic, at one point, my husband was furloughed from his eight, and I was able to continue going to class simply because uh, the cost was affordable to me, and they allowed me to break down my payments. As far as the payment plan, that's probably the sorest part of UWI for me, simply because, and then over time, I saw them improve it because they had a system whereby you could apply and then you had to wait for them to respond. And sometimes it's the time difference or the lag between you putting in the application and actually hearing from them. I've actually always had to put in a ticket to say, I haven't heard from you. And then when I did, someone would respond and say, yes, it's been accepted. And once the initial payment was made, it was always, always smooth sailing.
We're definitely glad that we were able to rectify that for our students. So, Natasha, you would have spoken about your family, you have children, grandchildren, you work. Javon would have mentioned working and studying and going through the routine of that. How did you balance your work, your extracurricular activities, whether it be church or your family, and your responsibilities in terms of having assignments sometimes weekly, especially like the discussion sessions? How did you balance that? What
Well,
help did you gain, if anything?
for me, I reminded myself that I needed to take breaks because there were often times the entire weekend I would be doing schoolwork. So I must admit that I could have done better in terms of managing my time for school and still taking breaks. I invested a lot of time in doing my assignments, and because I had the weekends off and to work Monday to Friday, I put more of my time into my schoolwork on the weekends. But however, in the back end, sometimes that gave me, a burnout, and that was not good for me. So I needed that support as well from my mom. She always reminded me, she wants to take a break. So that having that support of people in your ear telling you take a break. Come, let's go out, let's go for a line or whatever to have that balance. Because I honestly can admit that I did not do that the best. So I would suggest to others that when you apply to do especially a postgraduate degree, that you ensure you have a plan as to how are you going to do that from a specific time frame. You just do schoolwork and you take the time. Okay, this specific time you deal with your children if you have children, but you have to put a schedule that works for you. And that's something that I wish that I did from beforehand going into my program.
Well, for me, definitely it was starting my assignments before time. And so I would always give myself a 2 week window of opportunity to complete assignments, especially final papers, things like that. I never waited until the last minute to complete my assignments because uh, my job sometimes requires that I'm constantly busy all day. And so I can't even say steal a moment away from work to do something. No, and then I know when I came home, I had my family to deal with, and then I could look at Yui's work. And so I always started ahead of time. Um, to, to start knowing where or getting a feel for the assignment. I never waited until the last moment. I always tell people that I another factor is I think that my supervisor at the time was very understanding, and if there were times when I needed a day or two, she allowed me to do it. Writing my final paper, of course, so many distractions at home. My husband was about to travel, and he said to me, he said, Tash, why don't you come with me so that you can just concentrate on what it is you have to do? And I wasn't planning to
Home.
go. Pardon me?
Get away from home in that sense. Like,
Yes, get away from home. And so I went. Uh, we went to one of the family islands in the Bahamas, and I'll tell you, I was able to concentrate on writing my final paper for during that whole week, doing the analyzing the data, just working on that paper. And I can recall working from maybe 10 in the morning till 7 p.m. in the night, just working on this paper.
Yep.
But the end result I was very happy with. I was very happy, and I'm so glad that I was able to do that. I don't know what I would have done if I had to go to work or if I had the distraction of the grandchildren around or whatever, while I had to write that paper. But in the solitude and the quiet of one of our family islands, I was able to make such a great impact on this paper. And I'm so grateful.
I can also agree with Natasha that I am grateful for my superior as well. That even through the different semesters when I have final papers, I was given the time, that flexibility, especially during for the final paper. The final, oh my, I had a couple of weeks off of work, half days. Like they were very flexible with me, and I was definitely appreciative of that because if not, I'm not sure how I would have been able to complete these assignments and that final paper. So definitely have to give thanks to them for sure.
awesome. So tell us, the graduation. It was online again last year, and you know how it is when you're studying, when you're at the end of that journey. You want to walk across the stage. You want to hear your name being called. You want to stretch forward and get that handshake. You want to hear your family screaming in the crowd. How was the online graduation for both of you?
Ooh, for me, firstly disappointing because I kept saying to myself that I actually started UE the same year COVID started, so in 2020. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm hoping to God that by the end of my program, I'll be able to have an in-person graduation. I hope that was not the case. However, as I mentioned, I'm living in St. Martin. However, I was attached to Anguilla campus. I am attached, well, yeah, was attached to Anguilla campus, and they had a watch party for the virtual graduation. So I said, you know what? Even though it's virtual, and I don't know anyone over there at the time, I was like, I'm still gonna go just to have that in-person interaction with the other students over there. So they had at the virtual graduation was nice. I met other students, even the people that work at UE at the Yacht UE site were very welcoming. They made me feel as if they knew me from a long time. So that was a nice experience. In addition to the virtual graduation watch party in December, so later on, a couple months later, they did have a small local ceremony so that I was able to bring some of my family over to Anguilla with me, to have that, not a large scale, but at least the mini version of a graduation. So that was also nice. And although I did not get to meet my other students that I was working along with all those years, it still was a good experience to hear my name being called and walk across the stage. So I was still grateful for those two opportunities.
For me, it was anticlimactic, simply because, like she says, she wished that by the time we graduated that they would have had face-to-face graduations. I would have gladly made the trip.
Yep.
So certainly, I'm hoping that that's something that they can fix in the future. And maybe I also so to actually officially graduate across the stage because of when I finished. And Siobhan, I didn't have all of those things like a watch party. That no. And so I was happy to see my face on the screen, but I wish that it was a handshake and to walk across the stage.
For you, it was all or nothing. But I'm so glad that you at least still were able to accomplish that and still have your photos go up on the virtual graduation. Still see yourself being recognized for this great achievement. Those who are watching, did I tell you that both of them received distinctions in their masters? Even though the road was such a journey, they were able to overcome and receive distinction. So we have persons who are continuing to comment and cheering you on. Great job, ladies. Naishion Powell. And we also have someone saying intelligent women are the best. So they're bigging you up and giving you all the compliments that you so rightfully deserve. So I want to remind those who are watching, who are on our social media platforms, that application for the September 2024 semester one period is now open. You have until July 31st if you want to do undergraduate programs, or those of you who want to complete your postgrad or master's programs, you have until Friday, July the 12th to do so. You can log on to our website at global.uwi.edu/apply. So tell us, how is or was the relationship with you and the persons at the country sites? I know persons develop relationship with these persons. Was that the case for you?
Well, for
or
me,
you were able to maneuver on your own, basically?
I mainly had contact like with the UE Global Campus persons that were maybe stationed in Jamaica or Trinidad. I honestly did not have much of a contact with the site, the Anguilla site. On only till the end, at the time for graduation and the completion letters to all those, the latter part of my program is when I was able to develop somewhat of a relationship with them. But throughout the process, unfortunately, I was not able to.
Similarly, I think they saw me at the beginning when I went there inquiring about my acceptance. Once I got enrolled, everything just was online. From time to time, I would have to give a call just to ask a question or two. And then they saw me at the end when it was time to pick up my diploma or whatever. But they had facilities for persons if they needed to use computers or things like that. But fortunately for me, I didn't have to do that. I worked from home and to complete my assignments.
So now that you've finished, what have you been up to? What have you both been up to? You know that you don't have to go home to study. You don't have to sacrifice time away from your family in terms of having to lock yourself away to do assignments. What have you been doing?
Well, for me, I always, in addition to HR, I have a passion for going into entrepreneurship. So now that I'm completely done with my degree, I'm, doing my research because, of course, you taught us to vigorous research. So I'm doing my research in order to go down that road because I do see myself going on that path, and also still applying myself to see how I can further develop my current organization I've had more time now to start looking into extracurricular activities to develop my presentation and speaking skills and abilities because I do want to become an effective leader in the future. So I am, looking into different aspects of how I can further develop myself professionally because it doesn't stop at UE. I love to learn, I love to grow. So it just continue. UE just laid that extra foundation for me, but it's just to continue building that momentum.
So I am very active in my church, and that keeps me pretty busy. That between that and my grandchildren, two of them live with me, and they're twins.
Oh wow!
And they are literally playing mind games on me. And so at 5 years old, if one says no, the other says yes. And if one goes up, the other goes down. They go left, they go right. And I'm just trying to keep up with them. But certainly my office keeps me very busy. If I am not getting a task, we are very heavy into planning. And so we do a lot of planning for what's next. And so we spend a lot of time thinking. We actually plan so much, we at times have to think for other people as we plan. And so, of course, that's a part of management. You have to think about the big picture and what it is that is happening all around you and be able to pull everybody in, find ways to pull everybody in to complete the task that's required. And so it keeps me busy most nights when I go to bed. My head hits the pillow.
You don't have anything to worry about, assignments, deadlines, anything.
So deadlines for work. Deadlines for work, but not school, no.
Yeah, no, not school, definitely. You're getting a lot of
love. The added pressure is gone. The added pressure is gone. It feels so good.
You both are getting a lot of love in the chat. They're saying, great job, ladies. Congratulations on your great accomplishment. Shalissa, she's saying, great job, big congratulations on your achievement as you both persevered despite the obstacles and challenges, and that is indeed true. And we have Shahid Kelly. Siobhan, this is probably your relative saying Dr. Siobhan Kelly. So they want you to pursue your PhD.
I don't know about that one.
So I don't know. The jury's still out.
About that? Neither of you?
I don't know. Time will tell.
Siobhan is much younger than I am. I would say to her, of course, go ahead and do it.
You can still do it too.
I have thought about it. It's still in the back of my head. I shall see.
So, ladies, we have 13 more minutes to go, so we can start wrapping up. But before we do, there is a comment here in the chat from Adam Levy. He's saying that he's on the last laps of his BSc in Human Resource Management, and he is deciding whether he should continue with the UWA Global Campus to pursue his master's. However, he's still undecided. So I want both of you in your response, considering students like him who are undecided or who have already decided, but they just want that final bit of advice to hit the ground running. What advice do you have for any prospective students based on your experience?
For me, I would say keep your purpose in mind. Whatever your purpose is to achieve, keep that in mind and do not let anything deter you. Regardless of the challenges, regardless of the difficulties, keep being perseverant. Please persevere to be able to accomplish that, because at the end of the day, you have to know your why, and your why will be your biggest motivator in helping you overcome any obstacles. So definitely pursue that master's degree with UE. Given that challenges will come, that is just to prepare yourself mentally to know that I will get to yes, this is a no, but the reward would be much greater than the no. So that's what I would encourage that Mr. Adam regarding his comments.
Okay, I think that the person that wrote the message should take all things into consideration. I know that some people like to um, broaden their scope a bit and attend perhaps another school rather than the one that they got their bachelor's from. Were able to, then I would say go ahead and do it. I know for me, UWI was my choice because of the flexibility and, of course, the ability to remain at home with my family while completing my studies, and of my so able and do there. That's up, but certainly the University of the West Indies is able to position you for where it is you need to be or where you want to be in the future.
Thank you so much, ladies. Great advice. We hope that those who are listening, who are watching, and who would hear this recording, that they would indeed take what you have said for the last 50 minutes and put it to use and apply it. And also, it will give them that encouragement, that push. And it will be on our platforms if they want to rewatch and re listen as they're going to their studies to constantly have that level of motivation. So, we want to thank those who joined us, who are watching online, as well as our two lovely guests, Natasha Williamson from the Bahamas and Siobhan Kelly from Anguilla, or from St. Martin by way of Anguilla, for giving us insight into their journey as master's students at the UWA Global Campus. Ladies, we want to wish you all the very best in your future endeavors, your careers, your family. And if you do indeed want to continue studying, wish, we do hope that you will continue with that Pelican spirit and put the best foot forward as always. We want to thank those who are working in the background on the marketing and communications team, Mr. Patrick Johnson and Marcia Reed. And for everyone that have joined us tonight, thank you for taking the time. I'm your host, Sharice Glasgow, and until next time, thank you for joining Let's Talk Access. Bye.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah.